Good afternoon and welcome to Biztech Asian Midday Market Watch. I'm Samantha Voon and it's Thursday, the 20th of June. Our guest today is none other than Glenn Yin, Head of Research and Analyst at AETOS Capital Group. Glenn, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Sam, and good afternoon to our viewers.
Great. So first, let's quickly take a look at the regional stock markets today. All right, we have the Nikkei 225 up 0.18%. In Shanghai, the composite is down 0.27%. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng is down 0.51%. In Australia, the ASX is down 0.11%. In South Korea, the Kospi is up 0.43%. In Singapore, the STI is down 0.28%. And back in Kuala Lumpur, it is down 0.51%. Glenn, what do you think of today's performance?
To be honest, Sam, I think it's a bit of a directionless trading day happening right now. Pretty much the same throughout the week. Markets have not got really heavyweight data or decisions coming out, except for what we're going to talk about in a minute. But it's the same thing last week. We had lots of heavy stuff going out last week. There's the FOMC, there was the inflation, there was the PPI. So I think markets are given a precious break before more dramatic events unfold.
All right, and let's talk about that then. Let's turn to England for a moment, right? With the UK inflation hitting the Bank of England's target of 2%, and this for the first time in 3 years. It begs for the speculation of a rate cut, Glenn. And BOE is having their announcement tonight. How do you think this will play out? What do you think the trajectory of the GBP will be like?
Yes, Sam. This has been our forecast that the BOE will cut tonight. It's our forecast, given that the Bank of Canada and the European Central Bank have both cut rates already. And on top of this, UK's inflation in May, like you mentioned, which came out last night, the data showed that it has finally reached BOE's target of 2%. And this is for the first time in 3 years, so marking the official end of the post-pandemic hyperinflation period. One thing that's keeping this meeting live is the services inflation, which is still sitting at 5.5, 5.7%. It's far from the 2% target. Hence the concern for how sustainable the ideal inflation target, which is 2%, can be maintained. If we look at the sterling movements, we'll see the cable climbing steadily until this morning, where signs of weakness started to emerge ahead of the BOE decision. But on the flip side, this could be another setup for buy the rumor and sell the news. And if the BOE does cut the rate today, then it is more than likely to accelerate the global easing cycle and put more pressure on other central banks.
We shall wait till tonight to see what happens. Okay, so let's turn over to somewhere nearer to home, Australia. So the Reserve Bank of Australia held rates steady this week, Glenn, but with the stubbornly high inflation, the RBA may be forced to raise rates at its next meeting. What are we looking at here, Glenn?
So this is quite paradox, Sam, to be honest. We had a meeting this week on Tuesday, and the next meeting now suddenly becomes live because inflation refuses to drop. It has dropped quite a lot, but in comparison, we're still quite high, right? We're sitting at 3.6%, higher than that of the US, than the UK. And so it does create a strong sense of concern that other global central banks are either cutting or in the process of doing so while we are sitting ducks. We're still hearing from the RBA that we can't rule anything in or out this week. Now, this rhetoric has been interpreted by economists as a hawkish signal. So some say there's a 30% chance for another hike in August. And if this happens to be the case, it will probably be the most controversial policy change in today's setting. But hey, if you're trading the Aussie dollar and you're going long, you've been buying it, it could probably be good news for you because the pair has been, let's say AUD USD, has been attempting to break out from the current trading range. And if the RBA decides to hike, we may see further explosive momentum to the Aussie dollar.
Mhm. Okay, so let's turn over to the very hot Nasdaq. The tech-savvy Nasdaq index is approaching the 20,000 level for the first time, driven by the strong performance of major AI and tech companies. Will we see the Nasdaq tear through the 20,000 benchmark for the first time?
Yes, in fact, Sam, as we are speaking right now, the Nasdaq futures has just done that. So 20,000
Mm.
points. So we've just witnessed the history in a matter of minutes. And certainly, like you said, the markets focus of the markets has been the Magnificent Seven, roaring back to lead not only tech stocks but also the broader indices higher. We saw Nasdaq 100 now sitting just above the 20,000 threshold, and the S&P 500 also within striking distance to the 5,500 level if it hasn't broken through. Now, if they do break through the physical, the actual exchanges, the markets go past these two key points, then we'll definitely be seeing global headlines all around the places tomorrow morning. But perhaps the most question is where they will go after hitting those levels. Now, the AI craze will not go on forever, although it has put Nvidia in the throne of the most valuable US company by market share, surpassing Microsoft and Apple. To answer this question, we can take a look at the historical monthly performance of Nasdaq since 2004. Now, to 2009, just post the GFC. It has recorded monthly gains in July the month alone, 15 times out of 15 times. So that's 100% again, if you just use 2009 as the base year. So 15 times out of 15 times. On top of this, if we look at NVIDIA's, now the largest company, look at its latest financial reports, we'll see solid performance in its financial metrics. So the valuation can be largely justified, hence providing great support to the downside of the indices. So the real question is, how much higher can they go after tearing through those key levels, where we see even more madness coming July?
Exciting, very exciting. Glenn, thanks for your insight.
Thank you, Sam.
We've been speaking to Glenn Yin, Head of Research and Analyst at AETOS Capital Group. This has been Biztech Asian Midday Market Watch. I'm Samantha Voon, and this video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It will also be on our syndication partners' TV stations, radio stations, and website. Thanks for tuning in.